What's up, everybody? Welcome to another YouTube Hangout. Super excited to be here. I am joined by a new friend, Pratik. He is part of a group called the Hacker School and is trying to inspire young entrepreneurs and give them some motivation as well as some tactics and ideas on how to become a successful entrepreneur. He's doing an interview with me for his website and YouTube channel, and I thought, hey, why not also promote him on mine? So Pratik, welcome aboard, man.
Hi everyone, it's nice having you over here. So my name is Pratik. I work in among a group of people called an initiative called Hacker School. So Hacker School is a students' initiative envisioned by Business Serpa. Whole program is focused on bringing in entrepreneurial skills among students. Mainly focused on how a student can innovate, how can he market his business, or how can he improve upon his leadership skills. These are skills which you would probably not learn in any school or any other format. We kind of build entrepreneurs, and that's what we have totally focused on. And that's pretty much going to be the aim of our whole interview, to promote entrepreneurship among young people.
All right, so, I love it. It's a cause I believe in. Hit me with your questions, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, great. Let's get started. Evan, you have made a lot of videos on young entrepreneurs. You have. Totally into it. He aims to help 1 billion entrepreneurs in his lifetime, and is a way of sharing his experience, sharing and motivating, and pretty much building the whole community. So yeah, that's Evan for you guys. So let's start off with the interview and let's come up with our first question. Evan, you've been put up on a lot of TV channels and in a lot of media. Being a young entrepreneur yourself, you started off and started a company at age 18. Why starting early? Why starting when you're in college? Why starting young? Great advantage.
Yeah, so I think I actually started younger. Just I didn't really take it seriously. I didn't have a hacker school, where I was growing up. I had my first business when I was 5 years old. I painted some pictures with my little sister and sold them to my neighbors and earned my first 10 cents, and then had baseball card stores and a whole bunch of other ventures. But I still thought I wanted to be a banker, mostly because I didn't have people in my family who were entrepreneurs. YouTube wasn't around. There weren't a lot of programs in my area, and so I thought I wanted to just have a traditional job. And so I officially started, and took my business seriously when I was in university, 19 years old. I think the sooner you can get going on your idea, the better. I think a lot of people, especially young people now, you have tons of ideas. You are unhappy with the way the world is. You think of a way to make it better, but a lot of people don't do anything with that idea. And
yeah, I pretty much can.
Yeah,
I pretty much can with what you're saying. I have a lot of my friends who have an idea, who have worked over it, but are pretty much stuck within themselves, who aren't bring out the idea towards the whole outside society, who are not making that product a company. Which pretty much brings us to our next question, which is a lot of young entrepreneurs, people who want to be entrepreneurs, complain about resources, they're still young, they don't have a team. There are bigger companies who are doing the same thing. They have more money, more resources, more knowledge, more connections. So how do you think a young entrepreneur tackles such problems?
Entrepreneurship is never about your resources. It's about your resourcefulness. You have to find a way to use the resources you have. If all you're doing is complaining about how you don't have things, That's not the entrepreneur mindset. You have to start looking at how can I achieve it? Like you're asking the wrong questions. If you just have this idea and you're sitting there and complaining that you don't have what it takes, then that's going to be your entire narrative. That's going to be your entire life, just sitting around complaining, because people are not running up to you and going to give you money. You have to go out and earn it. You have to go out and fight for it. And so you have to figure out as an entrepreneur, what do I have? How can I make it happen with what I have? And it's never been easier. Like 50 years ago, you had to have a ton of money. You had to buy a factory and you had to build something, right? It's never been easier to get started as an entrepreneur with zero resources. Just you, your energy, your heart, your hustle. It's going to be like, it's such an important lesson to learn now at the beginning, because you're never going to have enough resources as an entrepreneur. Nobody's lining up to throw money at you. You have to go out and build it. And you need to start with that mentality now. Stop complaining and start finding a way to make it happen.
Oh, well, that's a pretty satisfying answer, you know. Like pretty much like adding on to it, like starting off young when you're in college, when you don't have a spouse, you don't have any responsibilities, there's no loss of failing. Like in case you lose, you just lose. You pretty much gain more experience rather than losing any resources. And it's really, it's not that risky, like starting off a company while pretty much you're in college, and you pretty much live that life. You know, you started off like you're 5 years old, but pretty much you sold your own biotech software company when you were 19. Like pretty much like that's the age when people actually start thinking like about their career. But I guess like you never had anything to lose, and that pretty much helped you like carry on, put in all your energy into it, and like come up with a company. So I would so the next question which I would like to ask is, people like are always like they want some opportunity or something to like totally dive into, like totally like put in all their energy into. So I have pretty much like recognized this pattern that it's always one opportunity which leads to a second opportunity. It's always like a chain reaction. With respect to your life, would you like to like talk about a bit more like how opportunities how one opportunity leads to another, and how the chain follows on?
Yeah, I think a lot of people spend too much time planning. And you need to spend more time doing. I lost a $40 million deal when I was 22 years old because I was planning. I didn't do enough, and I was too late. I missed the window. And here's the thing, planning is really satisfying. It's great to plan. It's fun to plan. It's fun to imagine what we're going to do and where we're going to be, all the things that we're going to go off and create. Like that's really stimulating and satisfying. And then you have to go and do the work, and the work sucks because the work, you're going to fail at the beginning. It's never going to work out like you think it's going to work out. And so no matter how great a plan you have, you need to adjust. And so people spend so much time coming up with the perfect plan and then not taking any action, where you have to realize that you need a plan. It's not just don't have any plan. You plan, but then you got to do, and then the real growth comes from the adjustment. Whatever you create, chances are the market is not going to just accept it and love you. You're going to have to make adjustments. Some of your assumptions are going to be wrong. And so you need to spend more time going out talking to customers to understand what it is that they need and where that matches up with what you can create. And so in my case, where I lost that huge deal, I spent an entire summer planning. And we got to the table with this company. We were late to get to the table, and they ended up buying out our competitor for $40 million. Like that should have been me. That should have been me. I should have been more prepared. Like I should have been talking to these guys sooner and not just at the dining room table making the plan. If you look at any successful company and look back to what their first product was, you'll see how often it has changed. You know, Hewlett-Packard started off selling audio oscillators, you know, for movies, and they're not in that business anymore, right?
Okay.
Wrigley's, the gum company, started off selling soap, and then they sold baking powder, and now they sell gum. Like your initial plan doesn't work out like you think it's going to work out. And so don't worry so much about the perfect plan. Get it out there and then make adjustments to get to where you can go.
Oh, that was like one of the best brainstorming answers which I could pretty much accept. Like, also, especially the one which you your own personal example of like losing 40 million, and the HP's example and all the other companies, which pretty much like promote beyond the canvas, move beyond the business canvas on the board to like get into the field, talk to your customers, and like get your product out to the market. Pretty much like you've trained over like millions of entrepreneurs. So you like looked into their business models, worked worked with them personally, like, and a lot of stuff. Like pretty much like your whole motive was to promote entrepreneurs. So by your experience, what are the traits? What are the key characteristics you see in like entrepreneurs who are like really successful?
I think it's not what most people think they are. I think a lot of people see on TV these really outgoing, really, good with people, entrepreneurs giving inspiring speeches. You don't have to be an outgoing person to be a success as an entrepreneur. You don't have to have that type A personality. You see those people because they're doing what they're good at. They're being loud because they're good at being loud. That's why you see them. But if you look at the wealthiest people in the world and you take out the people who inherited their money, what's left is entrepreneurs. And a lot of the people on that list you've never heard of. You've never heard of them because they go in on what they're good at. And so you don't need to, a lot of them come from nothing, like had no resources, didn't have family that were entrepreneurs, often just immigrants coming to a new country and starting up from scratch. So they don't have the resources. They're not necessarily type A personalities. The thing that they have in common, one, they have an idea. And everybody has an idea. Like, we all have tons of ideas for a business. But two, they did something about it. So most people don't actually do anything. They just sit on their idea and they plan and they don't actually take any action. Or they end up taking the safe route and go get a job. And they say, well, once I make this amount of money, then I can quit my job and go and do it. It's like, the further you get down that corporate path, the more you're going to stay there, chances are. And so you have to start doing something. Even if it's part-time, even if it's on the side, you start. And then the third thing is they kept going. Like when it didn't work out, when they had failures, when they needed to make adjustments, when they were struggling, they kept going. And so you have an idea, you do something about it, and you keep going. You see it through. That's what they all have in common. And it's not what most people think about. It's not how much money you have. It's not who your parents are. It's not what country you're from. It's not what your education is. It's not most of the things people care about.
Pretty much like hustling the way through to make sure you achieve the goals you plan to achieve. So for those of you who aren't that familiar, Evan Carmichael has written his first book. It's called Your One Word. It's called Your One Word. And if you've been following Evan, like everywhere you look into his blogs, his website, his videos, you'll find the word believe. So Evan, give us an insight about your book, Your One Word. Like how the word believe has changed your life, and how did it all start off? Like, is believe something which you've like gained recently, like the word which you started like looking into like pretty much like like last couple of years, or is it been like pretty much like it has pretty much represented your whole life in a way?
So the idea behind the book, Your One Word, is that everybody has a single word, a single core value that best represents them. That this is what you've always cared about and always will care about. It's at the core of who you are as a human being. And the more you can recognize that, then the more you can build a life and a business for the entrepreneurs watching that best reflects that core value. Where I think a lot of people walk through life feeling like they could be doing more, feeling like they have more potential, feeling like they have more ability than what they're currently doing, but they don't know how to go and tap into it. They don't know how to reach it. And so the self-awareness to understand what your most important core value is will help you. In terms of me, believe, to answer your question of has it always been a part of me or did I just discover it recently and build off of it? The answer is both. Like it has always been a part of me, but I didn't recognize it until more recently. And then now that I leveraged it, I can build a business more on purpose. What happens is if you look back in your life, there has been these amazing moments that happened. whatever has happened, you've discovered great teachers or great learnings or great classes or great music or great friends. These amazing things have happened to you in the past, but it's not consistent. Your life isn't consistently great. And so what I want to do is help people understand what led to those great things. What is the value system that you had that helped create those great things in the past? And now I want you to have consistently great things happen to you in the future, because we're planning for it, because we're designing for it, instead of randomly waiting for things to happen. And so for me, it's about believe, which breaks down into self-confidence, breaks down into passion, breaks down into conviction. So 3 parts that make up the credo of believe. Once I discovered that this is who I am and who I've always been and who I always will be, then I could live a life based around believe, and I could build a business based around it as well. And so it's great for marketing. Like, it's great that you understand that I'm about believe and you see it everywhere and it's easy to spread and people talk about believe and they mention my name because of believe. Anytime they see believe somewhere, they think of Evan Carmichael. It's great. It's great for marketing, but it's not just marketing. It's who I am. And that's the important part. You're not doing something just because you hope it's going to sell you more. You're doing something because it's a part of you personally, and you bring that to your business to help give you more direction, clarity, and purpose, so you can have a bigger impact and make more money as well.
I couldn't agree more to this answer. Like, pretty much like after you agreed for this interview, and I was like speaking to my friends like, hey guys, I'm interviewing Evan Carmichael, guy with the believe guy. It pretty much becomes the image of a person, like that's one word. Pretty much you learn this in marketing, that people won't remember a lot about you, so you need to be like really precise about what do you want them to remember. Your word is the belief. People recognize you with that word. Yeah, and that helps in marketing too. So how would people find their one word? Like, how would they recognize? Or what would the thinking process be like?
Sure. So that's a good chunk of the first part of the book, and I'll try my best to like condense it down for you, because it's worth going through the activities and exercises in the book to figure it out. But 3 things I would have you think about. 1, this is something that is a constant. It's not a New Year's resolution. It's always going to be a part of you. So believe isn't just, hey, 2017, I'm about believe. No, like in 10 years, I'm still about believe. In 20 years, I'm still about believe. 10 years ago, I didn't know it, but I was still about believe, right? And so this is a constant for your life. So whatever you pick, it's not just what you want to do this year. You're still going to care about in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years, depending on how young we're going with the entrepreneurs, 100 years, you're still going to care about it. So that's the first thing, it's a constant. Second, I would look back to all the happiest moments in your life, all the things that you felt really amazing about, who your favorite teachers are, what you learned from your parents, what your favorite music is, your favorite movies, and what's a commonality between them. What does your favorite song have to do with what you learned from your parents, have to do with who your favorite teacher was growing up? There's common threads between them. When you can figure that out, that's going to be your one word. And what I want you to do now is, instead of, again, having it be random that you discover this song or discover this teacher or discover this career path, sort of these happy moments that randomly occurred in the past, your highest highs, I want you to design and plan for them now. I want you to attract more of that into your life and your business in the future. Some people have a hard time with the positive, so I say, okay, go negative. So if you can't figure it out by going up your highest highs, think about your lowest lows. Think about the people that you can't stand being around, the people who are just toxic to you, that you never want to be in the same room as anymore. What is it about them that you don't like? They're still probably a good person, but what is it about them that you just don't like and you can't be around? And then if you can think about the one value that you hate, that's your anti-word. The opposite will be your one word. So sometimes people have an easier time going negative. So thinking about that, it's a constant. It always will be a part of you. Going to think about all the things that have made you happy and finding a pattern, or going to things that have found always negative in your life and finding the pattern. Those are 3 quick strategies. We go through more and like go into those in more depth in the book, but it helps kind of kickstart the thinking of helping you find your one word core value.
I pretty much agree with this. I also believe that your one word is going to lead to all the other words which you need to gain. For example, it's something like, if you believe into something, say in your example, if you believe in your business, you're going to work hard for it. You're going to be determined for it. You're going to gain the new skills that are needed to grow your business. Your one word is going to pretty much like end up making you learn all the other skills which you require and all the other soft skills, and make you the perfect person to start the business. Now we'll pretty much move on to the last part of this interview, which is we went around marketing this interview, and then we asked, like, if you would entrepreneur expert one question, what would that be? So we got a person from his name is Sagar Belwadi from India. This question is, what would be your top marketing tips for a software company?
So I think I would give
pretty much address it in general.
Yeah, so I think one, it'd be figuring out what you stand for, what your company is here to do, like you as a human being, what you're bringing out into the world, because people now buy much more the why first. People want to know why you're doing this. So telling your story and making that easy for people to understand, so I get an emotional connection to you. The software business is super competitive. And if you're only competing on different feature sets, it's easy to lose. If I'm comparing you against a big company, why would I buy your software when the big company has brand name recognition, they have a reputation, they have customers, they have media attention, they have exposure. I've heard of these guys before. Who are you? Why am I going to buy from you? If I don't understand the reason, then it's just going to be price. Like, I'll only buy from you if it's cheaper. And that's the last thing you want to compete on as an entrepreneur, because it's the hardest thing to stay ahead of. If somebody then offers 5% lower, you're going to lose all your customers because all they care about is price. And so understanding the why, understanding your core value and pushing that through is going to be super important. Once you get that, then I would say one of the fastest ways to grow a business is to make alliances. Find somebody who already is selling to your target audience and find a way to work together. This is what I did to blow up my software company. I looked at who is currently selling to my audience, and instead of me having to go to my audience like one at a time and knock on doors and send emails or make phone calls one at a time, who can I talk to that if I get them on board, they can send a message out to hundreds of people at a time, or thousands of people at a time, or tens of thousands of people at a time? Who are those people? And so I started making deals with companies who were reselling software, and I gave them a licensing deal, and I fed them some leads, and that was how I started building up the company. So looking at, in your industry, who is selling to your target audience, not selling the same thing, they sell complementary products, and how can you find a way to connect with them and give them a reason to want to sell your product? And it doesn't just work in the software industry, it works in every industry. There are people who could sell your product for you and make introductions for you who already have an audience that would be willing to buy your stuff. And so connecting with those influencers and trying to make a deal instead of trying to connect one customer at a time will really shortcut your path to success.
Yeah, pretty much like probably the way you execute it differs, but pretty much the principles remain constant, like to market any product in general. So we'll come up to our last question. This is a question by Rahul Ragesh from India. This question is, how do you leave the safety of a corporate job? Though entrepreneurship sounds really exciting, really few entrepreneurs, less than 7% entrepreneurs actually succeed. So how do you leave the safety of a corporate job in your business?
So a couple of things here. One, I don't believe that you need to go all in. I'm not the guy who says quit your job and just have no safety net and just start a business, but you need to start. So I would be looking at, okay, I have my job, it gives me an income. One, I would be trying to find a job where I learn. The point of having a job isn't just to make money, but to learn. So whatever business you want to start, if you want to start a software company, go work at a software company where you're going to learn. Don't go work at a bank or don't go work at a doctor's office. Like, go work at a software company, and ideally a smaller one. I'd look for a software company that has 10 employees or less, where I could be taking on real responsibility and not just being pigeonholed into doing one task all day long. And I would try to get as close to the entrepreneur founder as possible and try to take on as many projects as possible to learn about the business, right? When you go to school, you're paying for an education. Here, you're getting paid now to get an education, right? You're getting paid to make mistakes, to learn how an industry works, to make connections. And so I would first make sure that the job that I have is teaching me skills that I need for my business and not just giving me a paycheck. If it's irrelevant skills for you, then you're in the wrong job. Quit that and go find something else. At the same time, I would start my business on the side. My evenings, my weekends, I'd be looking to start my business, take what I know, try to provide some value. When I get it to the point where it's making me enough money to survive, not make a ton of money. I'm not off buying a Lamborghini or anything, but enough money that I can pay my bills, you know, pay for my internet, have some food, you know, like basic necessities from your part-time business. Then you can quit your job and go more all in on your company. But the key thing is you need to start doing it. Like, you need to start. It may not be the big vision that you have, but you need to start. Too many people get locked up in a job and then they get promoted and they keep getting promoted and they keep going and they get married and they have kids and they have a mortgage and then like they keep going down that path, and it's not impossible to break free from it. It's just harder. The longer you stay doing something, the harder it is to break off and go do something else. And so if it's really your passion, if it's really something that you want to test out, then go out and start. Like, just start. There is no one perfect step to starting. Just start, and then tomorrow do something else, and every day do something else. I'd be looking at every day at least 30 to 60 minutes every single day. Some days will be a lot more, which is great. But every day, no days off, at least 30 to 60 minutes on your business to build some momentum so you can get it to the point where eventually it becomes your full-time thing and beyond.
That pretty much brings us to ending our interview. I hope if there are young entrepreneurs looking into our interview, it helped you. It pretty much helped you take that first step towards starting your company, and first step of the big mile which you need to cover, and hope it motivated you to get started. With this, let's sign off.
Thanks for the love, Pratik. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the interview, Evan. I really loved the interview. Loved your answers. Loved the way you participated. Pretty much like your the answers weren't just focused on like the viewers. It pretty much answered a lot of questions which I personally had with this interview, and I pretty much want to get started and really excited about like starting my own journey.
I love it, man. Let me know if I can help. Go, go, go.
Yeah.
Take care, Pratik.
Thank you.